Hey, what's up everybody, it's S. Dot. So now if you've watched any of my videos, you know that this Glock 19 MOS has been my EDC for quite some time. And overall, I've been pretty happy with it. I mean, I'm pretty confident with this size pistol and obviously this platform. But as we get closer to summer, I'm thinking that I want to start carrying my Glock 43X more, if not permanently. So I might just retire the Glock 19. Now, before I go on, I do want to shout out Trudave boots. I think they saw one of my videos and they were horrified by my hook boat shoes that I normally wear to the range, so they sent me these. Now, I was gonna replace my shoes, but I just hadn't got around to it, so I'm pretty happy that they reached out when they did. Now, I used these when I was at the range the other day, and I didn't slide one time, which is pretty impressive because my range is always muddy and slippery, so it was nice to actually have some weatherproof shoes with grip. If you want to save a few bucks and you're in the market for some boots, you can use S.15 and save 15%. But enough of all that, we're here to talk Glocks. Now, I would love to give you some insightful reason as to why I want to change up my EDC to the Glock 43, but honestly, I really don't have an answer for that other than I just want to carry this one because I enjoy shooting it. Plus, I think it's gonna scratch an itch to have a new pistol and hopefully keep me out of the gun store.
Cap.
Now, from a size perspective, you know, the height on the grip on these two are pretty much identical. However, the 43X is a little slimmer and then the slide is a little bit shorter. It also holds YouTube compliant 10 round magazines. So if I show this on the channel, hopefully, you know, I won't get shadow banned or flagged or blocked or whatever else YouTube likes to do when they don't like the magazine count. I guess one real reason that I want to carry this one is that I live in Texas, so it's either going to be hot or less hot outside. Summers are absolutely brutal, and since it's already starting to get hot outside, I'm thinking I want a lighter, smaller package.
Wait a minute.
Now, I know someone's going to come in the comments and tell me to stop making EDC changes and that I should probably just, you know, focus and train and probably stick with my current EDC, but
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
So now that we have all that out of the way, let me go ahead and talk about my 43X and how I currently have it configured. Because there has been one change since the last time you've seen it on the channel. First, I have the same holster that I originally bought. You know, this one is tier 1 concealed. I don't have the model number or the model name off the top of my head. If I remember, I'll go ahead and drop it in the comments. Now, I did pay the extra 5 or 10 bucks or whatever it was to get the black carbon fiber, and I'm a huge fan of it. So if you like this kind of style, I think it's definitely worth, again, you know, the 5 or 10 bucks or whatever it was. Now, this one works okay as a strong side carry option, but it's not as comfortable as the dedicated strong side that I bought for my Glock 19. Now, I might end up getting a new holster, but for now, I'm just gonna roll with this one since it's free. Now, as far as the color goes, obviously you can see, you know, I went with FDE because you already know I'm FDE gang. Now, I didn't make any changes to the grip. I didn't do any undercuts or anything. All the internals are stock, you know, so no changes there either. For the optic, I went with the Hollow Sun, you know, 407K. So this one has the bigger dots instead of the Donut of Death. I think it's, actually I have it right here in front of me. It's a 6 MOA dot. So I like that one for, you know, shorter distances. Now it could be because I have an astigmatism and that my eyesight sucks, but I'm a big fan of the bigger dot, you know, for shorter distances. So I highly recommend this as well. Then again, I don't have any credentials, so take that recommendation for what you will. Now for the lights, I just went with the TLR 7A sub. Now this one accepts the, I think the rechargeable batteries, you know, but I don't have any, don't plan on buying any. This model was just on sale, so that's pretty much what I went with. I'm perfectly okay with buying whatever batteries it normally uses. Now, before I start carrying this, I am gonna change the battery so I can start fresh. So all of these things were the same as the last time I showed it. Now where it's different are the backup iron sights. Since this optic requires a plate, you can't co-witness with the factory Glock sights. I know it's not needed, but I feel like I can pick the dot up quicker, and I also don't lose the sight as much on my follow-up shots because I have a reference point with the front sight. I don't know, it's personal preference, but I really enjoy having the lower 1/3 co-witness. So I actually picked up these night vision sights. It was probably about a month ago. I just hadn't gotten around to installing them. But I put these on the other day and it was actually kind of easy. You know, I've seen a few videos of, you know, people taking off their rear sights by, you know, using a hammer and a punch, but I'm not about that life because I didn't want to mar up the finish, you know, on my Glock. So I ended up buying, you know, this sight pusher tool from Amazon. I also had to pick up a front sight tool, which I also got from Amazon. So the brand on the sight pusher is Vism, and then obviously the front sight tool is from Truglo. Now, one thing to note is I did have to take off my optic to complete the install. You know, I did think about having my local shop do it for me because it would have been about the same price as the tools, but I wanted to have the flexibility to change out my other sights if I want. Now, I personally don't have a problem with the cheap Glock plastic sights, but I do like the ones that have the adamantium or whatever it's called that makes the stuff glow inside. Now, overall, you know, pretty much it was very easy to do. I do wish that I had a caliper because I think the rear sight is slightly off, but without a caliper, I really can't tell. Now, as you can see, these sights sit up just enough where you can make them out just below the dot. So I'm a huge fan of that. Again, is it needed? No, but that's my preference. Now I went with the blacked out rear because I thought the ones that had the 2 dots on the rear made the sight picture kind of busy. You know, you had the 2 dots back here, then obviously you have your, you know, your front sight, then you have the red dot. It just seemed a little cluttered. So I wanted to go with a blacked out rear. For the front sight, I picked orange because I wanted something very similar to the red that they have, that I have on my red dot. And it's small enough where it doesn't compete. And this one actually glows in the dark. Now I've only taken this to the range one time since I put the sights on, but I think they're awesome. I felt like my accuracy was better, but the main thing I noticed was that I could pick up my red dot quicker and I didn't lose it because, again, I had a reference point from looking at my front sight. You know, maybe over time with, you know, more shots downrange with the red dot, maybe I won't have that issue. But for now, I really enjoy having that lower 1/3 co-witness so I could pick up my sight. Now, I'll need to go to the range a few more times to see if this really does make a difference. Now, if I end up liking these long term, I might end up swapping sights out on my other Glocks. Now, if you guys have any brands that you swear by, definitely drop them in the comments because I would like to try other brands. You know, these night vision ones, so far so good. Again, it's one range trip, you know, take that with a grain of salt. So now this Glock 43 is pretty much going to be my new main squeeze for the foreseeable future. You know, that is until obviously I get antsy and decide to make another change. So I'm going to go ahead and drop some range footage in, and I'll see you guys in the next video.